I'm often asked, what is the best environment for learning? And this is a difficult question to answer because there are so many variables that come into play. However, I always answer, it's personal. And I mean that in a few different ways. But in general, I believe that for early education, the best possible scenario would be to imagine the greatest expert in early childhood education, who is also extremely creative and fun, sitting on the floor with their own child, delivering a one-on-one lesson. Now, to understand why, let's think about all the elements working in concert here to make that lesson so effective. Well, the greatest early learning expert knows what content the child needs to learn, the scope. That expert also understands that there are multiple ways in which people can learn and can easily adjust to the individual learner. This expert would also know that the best ways to teach that lesson and in which order to teach lessons, the sequence. Because they're also creative, they can make the lesson fun for the child. There's a higher possibility of engagement. Because they're on the child's level, it creates a less formalized or stressful environment. Because it's their own child, they know a lot about them. What are the child's likes and dislikes? What are their passions? What is their learning style? What's their disposition in general? What information could be used within the storytelling presentation to make it more personalized or more engaging for this child? What elements of the lesson or precursors of that lesson have they had trouble with in the past? Where have they already shown mastery? How are they interacting right now? Are they focused and engaged, or are they distracted or frustrated? They're there together one-on-one, so the child has all of their attention. The lesson can meet the child where they are. When a person works one-on-one with a child, they constantly adjust for that particular child in real time. This type of learning is personal, and it requires a lot of careful attention to verbal and nonverbal responses. Did the child understand? No? I'll adjust the way I say it. Did the child zone out or get distracted? Okay, I'll add in some personalized twists to regain her attention. Is the book too easy? No problem, I'll add in some more challenges or choose a different book. This type of conversational back and forth interaction also has the added benefit of building important social skills while one learns. Asking questions, giving answers, picking up on facial expressions, tones, laughing, wondering, and connecting. These are all awesome skills to practice and all great ways to engage any learner. This is the ideal, but it's not very realistic. How many early learning childhood expert parents are there out there? And how many are there who are also super creative and can be available to the child whenever they're ready to learn? Now, back at home, parents are great at personalizing learning. They understand their children, their world, and their interests. They intuitively know how to connect with them and bring the lessons to their level. This learning quadrant is a good way to visualize this conundrum. The vertical axis is the amount of expertise that the teacher possesses. At the top is our early learning expert, and at the bottom, that represents little or no knowledge of how to teach early learners. And on the horizontal axis, imagine that on the far left-hand side, that represents a one-to-one learning session. Whereas on the right side, well, that represents a one-to-many experience, where it cannot be individualized for each child. In the top right quadrant, quadrant number 2, we have traditional learning experiences, and that's represented by books, teachers, or tutors. There's a high level of expertise, but an inability to address the individual learner for each lesson, and therefore inherently one-to-many in their nature. Most parents are in quadrant number 3 on the lower left, because they possess a high level of one-on-one time and knowledge to address the learner individually, but they're unlikely to be an early learning specialist. On the other side of that, in quadrant number 4, we find one-to-many experiences with a low level of individualization. This is where we find most apps and video games. Some may pretend to be individualized, but they are likely just referring to assembly line buckets of learning and testing, not truly personalized to the learner. Now, what we strive to replicate is quadrant number 1 learning, where there's a high level of educational knowledge and experience, and that meets the one-on-one understanding and personalization of a parent. This is what Leonardo is all about, personalized content for every reader based on their preferences and their performance. And we've built it in a way that is effective because it truly pays attention to the child. See, as a member of Leapfrog's advanced content team back in the early 2000s, we were tasked with creating the most effective products we could to try and unlock the amazing potential of personalized and fun learning. But in the early aughts, we could only feign personalization. We couldn't support genuinely personalized learning in a hyper-personalized, scalable, seamless way, the way we dreamed. So what's changed? Technology. Leonardo leverages cutting-edge technology to achieve the best learning environment. And that's the focus of our next video.